Excited to have you guys on today's call. This is something that we absolutely love teaching and helping investors to improve their businesses. That's why we do these trainings, these live trainings 2 or 3 times a month, where we bring in special guests to teach and educate and inspire us as business owners to help us do more deals, from data to systems to CRMs to leads to marketing campaigns and channels to resources. These classes are about you, and these classes are about expanding and improving your business. So we're pumped to have you guys here. So as we get started, my name is Sean. I've been with Tiffany and Josh for 2.5 years and had the opportunity to train hundreds of real estate investors across the country to improve their business and to do more deals. And it's something that I personally love doing, and we at Results Driven love doing. I have my own real estate business in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we do dozens of rehabs every single year. And we do wholesales, and we do burrs, and we do fix and flips. We do rental properties across the country. In my personal business, I have just taken what Tiffany and Josh does and I implement it in my business. That's how I do it, because it's simple and it's easy to follow. If you are not following Tiff and Josh, I have it on the screen for you right now. Definitely give them a follow. They give a lot of free information, free content, and updates on what's going on in their lives and in their personal business. So make sure that you do that. Now, since we only know how to teach from experiences, and especially today, as we're going to talk a lot about cold calling, it's coming back. Last year, you heard Tiff and Josh say, hey, we went away from it. We went away from SMS because we still don't teach SMS. It's something that we don't believe in because it is extremely high risk. We're not saying it doesn't work. What we are saying when it comes to SMS and texting is it's extremely high risk right now with regulations and changes that have happened. So we don't teach SMS outbound cold texting. We don't. We went away from cold calling as well. But laws and rules and regulations have changed. Court cases have changed. Things have happened. And now cold calling is coming back. It's getting stronger. It's easier. It's safer than it used to be able to do it if you do it right. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But as we do that, and because we are going to be sharing with you industry standard stats, we're going to be sharing with you what we do and how we do it. There will be times that we will use numbers. And because we use numbers, we want to make sure that we keep you safe. What this means for all of you, we're going to be extremely transparent. This business takes hard work, it takes effort, and there is risk. You can lose money in real estate. All of you are like, no brainer, Sean. We get that. We know that. That's not news to us. However, we do pride ourselves in making sure that you understand, just because we do something one way and we have a result, we cannot guarantee that you're going to have the exact same result. And that's what this means. You need to do your research. You need to create an understanding and implement what you think will work for you. We cannot guarantee you any type of results. You all get that. It is common sense, but we like to make sure that we are clear and transparent. Now, when it comes to a real estate business, Derek, you know this, Derek, there's 5 priority areas inside of a real estate business. Now, you may want to screenshot this. You may want to write these down. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. 5 key areas. You have your marketing, which consists of data, KPIs, tracking. You have sales, which consists of sales process, sales scripts, KPIs, and tracking. You have transaction coordinating or operations. Some of you may have businesses large enough where you have that in-house. Some of you may have businesses that are just starting out and growing, and you outsource all of your transaction coordinating, or it's something you do yourself. Number 4 is dispo, your dispo and dispo process. Some of you may do that yourself. Some of you may have hired a dispo manager, and you may be at that level with Tiff and Josh and some of the rest of us. But number 4 is dispo. You got to be able to move the deals that you bring into your business. And number 5 is finances. You need 2 types of financing as a real estate investor. You need deal capital, money to do deals, money to flip properties, money to do burrs, money to buy long-term rentals, and you need growth capital. That's marketing expenses, that's team, that's training, that's education, that's computers, that's chairs. What else, Derek, goes into business operations? All of that fun stuff.
Headsets.
Insurance, if you have it, yes. So you need 2 types of financing. Those are the 5 key areas for a real estate investor to really look at and say, where am I at on these areas? With the priority being probably number 1, number 2, and number 5 for a lot of investors. Where do I get money to do deals? Where do I get money to market? And once I am marketing, what am I doing in my marketing? What channel am I using? What am I maximizing? And number 2 is sales. It doesn't do you any good to dump a bunch of money into the top of your funnel into marketing, $10,000, $20,000 a month, if your sales and acquisitions is not good. If your sales team is terrible, if they're not converting at the right length, if they're not matching the KPIs that you want, if you're not tracking that data and information, don't put fuel on the fire. Wait until your sales and acquisition is dialed in. So we're going to talk about some of that today as we get started and as we get rolling. Is we're going to talk about some of our favorite subjects, which is maximizing cold calling. But as we do that, let me do this for you guys first. Everybody go to your chat. We want to make sure we have some engagement here. It makes it a lot more fun for you and allows Coach Derek and I to have a clearer understanding on who we're working with. So 5 easy questions for you guys. So make sure you're in your chat right now. So the very first question that we're going to have you guys answer for us is, are you a one-man show? Currently, it's just you, maybe you and your spouse, or do you have a small team? Maybe it's you and an acquisitions rep. Maybe it's you and an acquisitions rep and somebody that works in your discipline part. Maybe it's you, an acquisitions rep and a cold caller. Who is on your team? Are you a one-man show or a team? Give us a one-man show or small team so we have a better idea of who we have. Because what we want to help you do today is we want you to help you to grow that team systematically and strategically to increase your revenue. So that's what we're going to talk about. Thank you, Charles, Elliot, Tina, Jay, and Joyce for answering that question. Luke, thank you. You have a small team. Awesome. Appreciate that. All right, Derek, you got note of that?
Yes, sir.
Onse Lloyd, small team. Jay, looking to build cold calling. Awesome. Then you're in the right spot, Jay. This is a great place to start if you're looking at doing that. We'll talk a lot about what you need to be successful when you do want to run cold calling campaigns as a marketing resource. That's what we'll talk about. But let's get a better understanding of you. Now, the second question is pretty easy, pretty simple for all of you guys. It's not too difficult. What is your current number of deals per month? Take your average last 3 to 6 months. And this is not a contest. It's okay. It doesn't matter if it's 0, if it's 2, if it's 10. So we can have a better idea. What's the number of deals currently you're doing per month? Is it an average of about 1 in the last 3 to 6 months? Is it an average of a half a deal the last 3 to 6 months? If you're just getting started, just say, yeah, I'm just getting started, just learning how to do this, building my business. That's no problem as well. So it looks like, Derek, we have Charles, thank you for 2. Charles just getting going with 0. We have Elliot 0, Jay at 1, Luke, Melanie at 1, James at 0. Okay, so we have some room to grow for sure. So you guys are in the right spot to learn how to do that. Joyce, 0 the last 3 months. Perfect. Perfect. You guys are in the right spot. We can help you do that. That's the point of today, is to help you increase that number and to show you systematically how you can do that. So let's go to question number 3. Pretty simple, pretty easy. For those of you that have done deals, what is your average profit per deal? For those of you that have not done deals in the last 3 to 6 months, what is the average profit per deal for your market? What is the average profit per deal for your market if you haven't done deals? And if you have, I am in Salt Lake City, Utah. Our average profit per deal is going to be right around 35K. Now that's between wholesaling and rehabbing. Wholesales for me are about 7 to 15,000, depending on the area of the city. Rehabs are in that 70 to 90,000 range in the areas that we like to rehab houses. So you combine all of our wholesales, all of our rehabs, our average profit per deal is going to be about $35,000. So I know if I can learn how to do one more deal, that's going to bring in about $35,000 more for my business. So that's why this number is extremely important, because we want to understand the outcome of the effort. We want to understand what's the potential outcome of the effort that I'm going to put in. If I were to get a cold caller, if I were to give them the right data, if I were to manage them correctly, if I had the right KPIs, and I was able to get one more deal per month, what would that do for my business? What would that increase for my business? That's what we want to be able to understand. Thank you. So Joyce, 10 to 20K, Renee, 15K average, 30 to 50, Melanie. That's awesome, Melanie. Charles just moved to Florida. Yeah, 25K light rehab. Yeah, Charles, you'll, depending on the area of Florida, you'll probably be 5 to 15 on a wholesale, 30 to 50 on the rehab, depending on the area of Florida. Antonio, you're wholesaling only at 8,500. That's good. That's good, Antonio. This is a different topic, Derek, and we don't want to go on too many tangents today, as Derek knows I can do. We don't want to go on a lot of tangents. Derek knows Sean is the master of tangents when it comes to trainings and education. I'll hold it. I'll hold it, Derek. I'll hold it. Okay, I'll hold it. All right. All right. 10,000 on wholesale. All right, cool. You guys are awesome. We appreciate you guys answering that question for us. Number of marketing channels. Do you have 1 channel, 2 channels, 3 channels? How many marketing channels are you currently using in your business? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. At any given time, Tiff and Josh are usually between 9 and 11 different marketing channels every single month. My partner and I, we are between about 3 to 5 marketing channels every single month. How many marketing channels are you currently using in your business right now? If it's 0, that's fine. If it's 1, 2, or 3, throw that number in there. So Jay's cold calling, Joyce 3, love it. We appreciate your guys being transparent and honest during this. We really do. This is not a contest. This is about all of us improving. So 1, 1, 1. The most of them, Derek, we're doing 1. We have 1 marketing channel currently that we are executing. So for those of you that have 1 marketing channel, give me a yes in the chat. If you added cold calling to it, would that be your second? Or are you looking to improve your 1? So if it would be your second, give me a number 2 in there. If it would be improving, just write improve what I'm currently doing. All right, there we go, Derek. Got it. Okay, so Jay wants to improve what he's doing currently. Jonas wants to do 2. It'd be their second. Charles would be their second. Awesome. Awesome. Then you guys are in the right spot. Joyce wants to improve what she's currently doing. Renee wants to improve. So you guys have cold callers or a cold calling process. It may not be as polished as it needs to be. And so Derek and I will talk about that today. We'll make sure we help you clean that up and give you some guidance on that for sure. So last question, very, very easy. Last question is this. What is your number of exit strategies? Are you wholesaling only, or are you wholesaling and rehabbing? Or are you wholesaling, rehabbing, and creative? How many exit strategies do you have in your business right now? You can say 1, you can say wholesaling, you can say 1, 2, 3, or wholesaling. All right, so Antonio got 3, love it. Renee, wholesaling only, got it. Charles Adams, wholesale rehab, love that. Those are 2 of my favorites. Jonas is 1, Jay is wholesale innovations. Awesome. Wholesale only have 2 rentals. Love that, Charles. Congratulations on the rental properties. I'm a big fan of rental properties myself. 2 exits. We do cash and innovation. So Joyce is wholesaling. Melanie is wholesale, hotel subject to. So you have a couple different exit strategies. Now, the reason we ask you guys this question is pretty simple. If we are talking to a seller and we can give them multiple offers depending on the exit strategy we are using, do we increase our chance of closing that deal with the seller? As opposed to if we have 1 offer, 1 number, we have to get that number or we can't work with that seller. If we have multiple exit strategies, does that increase our chance of locking up that deal? Very easy question. Go to the chat, give me a yes or a no. Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. That's a no-brainer, right? Don't you wish you had tests this easy, Derek, when you were in high school and college?
At least you were my teacher, yeah.
Yeah, easy. And I didn't do so well in college, everybody, so I had to learn how to invest in real estate to make some money. So that's why I do what I do. Absolutely. So if you have 1 exit strategy, we are going to encourage you to figure out how to get more exit strategies. Why? That will increase your ROI on your marketing channels. Why? Because you can make different offers to somebody. You can, if I know that I can buy this property and I can rehab it and I can force appreciation and I can sell it, I can pay a little bit more than I could if I was wholesaling only, and I would still have a nice spread. If I was going to BRRRR this property, I know that I can pay more than your average wholesaler who wholesales only because I can lock it up, I can rehab the property, I can get cash out of it and put a rental in there. So the more exit strategies you have, you increase your opportunity. So that's going to be very, very big. When you start executing with cold callers and you're like, oh, it's just a little bit tight or it's not working as well as I want, there's several things you can look at, and Coach Derek's going to walk you through some of those. One of those is how many exit strategies do you have in your business so that you can maximize your ROI on that marketing spend. And that's what we're going to dive in today. How do we succeed with cold calling? What's some of the best habits? What's industry standard stats? What should we measure? What should we track? How should we manage it? And then ultimately, where do I find good cold callers? We'll talk about that today. So with that being said, Derek, is there anything that I missed? I'm going to turn it over to you.
No, I think you're
Love
great.
it.
I
So
got a lot to
stay in your
cover,
chat.
so
This is Coach Derek. Big fan of Coach Derek. I've known Derek for how long have we known each other? 15 years. We've known
yeah,
each other
long
for
time.
quite a long time.
Since I was a wee lad.
Yeah, I'm an old man. He's younger than me. Uh, I've known Derek for quite a long time, and we have Mr. Wonderful Denny on us today to answer a question in the chat. So here's what will happen. Derek's got a lot of content prepared for you guys. He's got a lot of stats, numbers, details. He's going to give you what it takes to be successful in cold calling. That's why we're here. That's the point of today's call. With that context, Denny and myself will be in the chat to answer questions while Derek's explaining, teaching, educating, and showing you, hey, how do you get better at cold calling? How do you maximize cold calling and what should you do? Derek's phenomenal at understanding. Here's why I love Derek. The simplicity in which he explains things, I love because I'm not super intelligent. So if I can understand it, you guys are pretty safe that you're going to be able to understand it. Number two, it makes it very clear on what you should do and what you can do and the opportunity on the other side. What Derek's going to talk about today has the potential to increase your deal flow depending on how you execute it. And that's what it's going to come down to. And we said earlier about we can't guarantee you anything. We don't know what you're going to do with this information. We can give you everything we have, but if you don't go execute, then we can't guarantee a result. So Derek's going to talk about all of that, who he's helped, why he's helped people, and what he does to help people improve their cold calling efforts because it is coming back. A year ago, it was not as talked about. It was kind of pushed out. And a lot of us, myself, we went away from it because of regulations. There was a lot of unknown. People were being sued left and right for all the policies that were, but now it's being changed a little bit. So there's opportunity we feel right now to be some of the first to really maximize on this strategy and do it right. Unlike other investors who are winging it as they go and they're hoping and praying. So Derek, with that, I'm going to mute myself and be quiet. I will be in the chat. Danny will be in the chat. We'll be here to answer your guys' questions. Derek,
All
thank you.
right, cool.
Here, my man.
Let me share my screen and we will get rocking and rolling here, guys. So, Sean, you give the best intros, man. I don't know if anybody's told you that, but I always feel like I'm walking into like a gladiator ring after I hear an intro from you, brother. I absolutely love it. So, really happy to spend time with you guys
Your
today.
mom sent me that. Your mom sent me that. What to say about you? She sent me
Oh, really? She's
sent
always
me
looking
a
out
list
for
and
me.
some bullets and said, "Hey, share this about my son." I'm like, oh, "Okay, I'll do that."
Awesome. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we got it. Amplified business growth. Love it. Let's get into it,
All
my
right,
man.
cool. So let's go ahead and dive into this, guys. What we're going to talk a lot about today is going to be cold calling. We've got about 40 minutes on this call. So I'm going to breeze through this, going to try to get to as much content as possible. Write your questions in the chat. Denny's going to help take those for me so we can double back to those by the end of this call. But I do have a lot to cover with you. So if you have a notepad, something you can take notes on, just get that ready. But what we're going to talk mostly about is how to build a cold call team that books deals with you without you. Let me share with you a little bit about myself before we get started. I actually started in real estate right when I met Sean. So this was about 15 years ago. And I've worked with hundreds of investors in all stages of the business. I'm the owner and operator of Bedrock Home Buyers and LLC in the Bay Area. We wholesale, we flip here, and then we also do mobile homes in Florida. But more importantly, I would say I see a lot of people are kind of in that survival stage right now, and that's really where I've spent a lot of my time. My history has been spent working with new companies in a startup phase. What that really means is I know what you're going through, right? I know how it feels to get up, you're tired, you have a lot of things to do, you're not seeing the success. So before we go forward, I just want to give you guys a lot of credit. The fact that you're here today makes a big difference. So keep going. Those of you that mentioned I'm struggling to get a deal every month, it will get better. And that's what I'm going to help you with today. Now, as we move forward in this, I would like to just know so I can get a feel for who's had the experience of working with a virtual assistant or a remote professional. So these are the questions I have for you guys. Is anybody in here actually have a VA on their team now or has had one in the past? And I'm just curious who's actually made it through that process in the past. Okay, cool. Awesome. Not yet. Okay, cool. So we've got a lot of people that have had experience with this before. Now, of the people that are in this room, is there anybody that feels like they're kind of right on the edge and ready to potentially start looking at hiring some VAs or some team members? Like you're kind of right on the cusp of that right now? Okay. Awesome, Melanie. I think you're doing pretty good deal size right now, right? So that really makes sense. Awesome. And then just so we can note this down, so we can work on this on our back end, what are some of the roles that you guys are thinking about? Like what comes to mind? Is it mainly cold calling, admin, EA, dispo assistants? What is it that you guys are really feeling like you're needing at this time? Okay. I love it, Paul. Cold caller, finding deals, so some sort of marketing. Got it. Awesome. And tracking stats. All right, cool. So we're gonna dive into cold calling today, but I do want to take a second and just share with you guys some of the other areas that we help people. Investor VAs have been working with Tiffany and Josh for the past 5 to 7 years. So we know their system in and out. I know you guys have a lot of roles that you're filling as you work your way out of survival, production, momentum, etc. So we're going to talk about some of those here in just a moment, but I appreciate you guys taking the time to answer that. So today, what we're really going to get into as a core is going to be why cold calling and why now. There's a reason that this training is happening today and not last month, the month before. Okay. So I want to bring you guys up to speed on that if you don't already understand it. We're also going to talk about how successful investors minimize risk and maximize return as it relates to cold calling. And then we're also going to show you a good example of what it looks like if we do this correctly. Okay. But as we go into this, I want to start and kind of till the soil in our mindset and get us thinking about why would I bring somebody else into my business to help me cold call? Like, what's the purpose of that? And really what it comes down to is what the most successful investors do with their time. So I
Derek,
just want
can I
to
ask a quick question on that? Like, this is
yeah,
extremely important as Tiffany and Josh and us at Results Driven. We coach students. We have one-on-one coaching programs. We have sales training programs. Like we educate. That's what we do. We help investors, but we really pride ourselves in protecting investors. And so I just want to make sure everybody understands that. If you guys wouldn't mind going to your chat, just giving Derek a confirmation. Are you guys okay if he spends some time on how you can protect yourselves, how you can do this correctly, how to make sure to you eliminate the risk as much as you possibly can. Do you guys appreciate that side of it? Because some people are like, I don't want to know about that. Just tell me all the good and don't tell me all the bad. Just tell me all the good and make everything roses and rainbows. But we kind of pride ourselves on doing both of those, of saying, hey, there's reward to this. There's tremendous upside to all this. However, there are Luke, roses and rainbows. We all love that, right? Roses and rainbows. But we also want to make you aware of the risks so you can avoid them, so you can minimize them, so you can be an educated investor. We feel you can't make educated decisions if you don't know, and our job is to educate you. So I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page. That's so Derek, I just want to make sure because some
yeah,
investors are like, nope, just keep it easy for me. So I appreciate Derek taking the time to do that. And awesome. Sorry, Derek.
absolutely. Yeah, interrupt anytime you want, Sean. I just want to make sure that we mind everybody's time so I can get through this with you guys. But this is an important question, right? And I'll share with you guys a story that I had. So I was around 21 years old. I actually worked for a company called Fortune Builders, if you guys remember those guys. I worked with Fortune Builders for 10 years. The amazing thing about that team is there was a lot of great leaders there, and I found a lot of mentors that I worked with. And one of the mentors that I had at Fortune Builders talked about this, right? He says, and he was doing like a group setting with us, and he asked us, he says, what do you think is the difference between people that are highly successful, meaning make a lot of money, however you define it, right? They achieve the things they set out to do versus people that don't, right? What do you think is the difference between high success and low success? And of course, we all gave answers that I'm sure you guys would do. I'm going to move past that for time today, but it was answers like, maybe they had a leg up. Their family was already in the business. I hear a lot of people say, hey, I don't have enough money, right? Or maybe they just didn't have the education they felt like, or they said, hey, people that are successful take action. They have no excuses. And the truth is, all of these are really good answers, guys. Like, these are great answers. But the reason this is a relevant question today is because his answer, I think, encompasses all of them. He says people that make more money have high value skill sets, and people that make less have low value skill sets. If we think of it in that way, it's really simple and it's really guided my life since then. I want to focus on high value skill sets. Okay. Now, where this really shifts for you guys is I know in a moment ago, we just talked about how much you guys make per deal, right? Some of you guys said 15,000. Somebody mentioned they have a 25,000 rehab. Melanie said 40 to 50 grand. So I would argue that you guys have the skill set. That's not the problem, right? But the problem that we have is most of us are spending our time on low value activities, right? So you have this amazing skill set, yet you're spending your time on 10, 12, $15 activities, right? So the simple answer to this is that most of the wealthiest people in our society are focusing their time, guys, on high value revenue generating activities. And then they learn how to delegate the rest. Okay. So let that sink in. Think about that while you're working on your business. What are the low value activities that I'm spending time on, and how do I replace myself with that? Okay, and we're going to do a light exercise here, but I want you guys to kind of stretch your mind and think about this a little bit. What do you think are the high value activities? Let's put it this way. What's going to make you money today, right? What are those activities? Go to the chat and let's just closing deals. Sean, you cheater. What's the other ones? Negotiating with sellers, selling. Sean, get out of
I
here.
want to participate.
You can. Who else has an idea? Like, let's think about Tiffany and Josh. You guys have been with them for weeks now. You've been following them for a while. What do you think Tiffany spends time on? Finding sellers? That's good, Brad. Do you think that Tiffany is cold calling? Or is that more of a $10 an hour activity? Setting the vision for the company? Absolutely, Paul, right? Ultimately, the business owner really needs to be busy doing things that only the business owner can do, right? Nobody can set the vision of the business but the business owner, right? No brainer, right? So let's go through some of these, and I'm going to breeze through this because I really want to get into cold calling. But these here truly represent the high value activities. These are the things that are going to take you from one deal or zero deal a month to two, three, four, five, right? So if we can focus more of our time on these activities, would you guys agree? And what this is raising private money, sales and management, building a team, expanding exit strategies, underwriting deals, networking. Do you think if we could spend more of our time who would like to spend their time every day doing this and none of the other stuff? Yeah, absolutely. Because this is where we win, right? All the other stuff is busy work, right? So if these are the high value activities, we have to ask ourselves, what are the low value? Right? What are the things that are keeping me from moving forward, keeping me from making sales, keeping me from negotiating with sellers? It's all the busy work, guys. So I just want to breeze through this. It's not about you guys being right or wrong. This is education and it's a safe place for this. But I'm going to do a little bit of a kind of breeze through this. And if you guys see yourself identifying with any of these roles, the good thing is that there's opportunity. There's opportunity for you guys to grow, right? Which is a great, great thing. So I'm going to breeze through this. If you guys see yourself doing any of these activities on a daily basis for 2, 3, 4 hours, then that's time we need to find a way to get back. Ultimately, we're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies if we spend our day doing activities like this. Okay.
Derek,
So
because I
again, it's
think,
not to point anything out. It's really just to show you guys some opportunity of growth. If we can find ways to replace you in these roles, ultimately, we're going to do more. Would you guys agree with that?
yeah, and Derek, I know you mentioned it too, that these activities are still important activities. They have to get done in the business. The question is whether or not you're the person that needs to be doing it, right?
Yeah, definitely. There's no way that your business is going to function unless these things get done. But going back to the concept that the business owner really needs to focus on the things that the business owner can do, right? If you were to ask Tiffany, and I know that she says this in her training several times, but her main role in the company today is raising private money. That's high value, right? The more money they put in, the more deals they can flip, right? So I just wanted to start here and kind of get our mind thinking about what am I actually spending my time on? If I expect to make $100,000 months, but I spend my time on 10, 15, $20 activities, will I ever actually get there, right? So we're going to move into cold calling here in just a moment. I wanted to share with you guys some of the additional roles that we recruit for investor VAs before we get into this training. So I would suggest anybody that resonates with what I just shared, take a screenshot of this. And these are the roles that we can help you guys fill, right? Lead manager, follow-up specialist, KPI reporting, attend meetings with you, data migration. These are things that we can help you guys with. So take a quick screenshot of this, save it in your notes. And then when the time's right, we can talk about that for you. Everybody got that? I think we're good, yeah. Cool. All right, so let's talk about cold calling, guys. Why cold calling? Why now? Okay, so some of us have been caught up to speed on this, but some of us haven't. So before I share this with you, I want to let you know that I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an attorney. You need to do your own research, your own due diligence, all that good stuff. Okay. But the reason this is important right now comes down to this case right here. There is a woman named Miss Coffee. She filed a lawsuit against Fast Easy Offer. You guys might have heard Tiffany talking about this last year. So she filed a lawsuit against Fast Easy Offer saying that they called her when she was on the do not call list. Okay. And this was a big concern for a lot of people that were doing cold calling before, is they're just worried. What if somebody's on the do not call list? I get sued, and then all of a sudden I'm out of money, right? Well, the reason this is an important case for us is because the judge actually sided with Fast Easy Offer, with us, right? They said that calling to buy something, meaning, hey, I'm calling to see if you want to sell your property now or in the near future, that is not the same as a solicitation, right? That's huge for us, right? It's not the same as a solicitation. So it gives us a lot of opportunity, a lot of protection when we talk about doing our own cold calling. Okay, now do your own research, go look it up. You can certainly do that. But this court case closed June 20th. It's currently July 24th. Okay. When this court case closed, the next day we had people calling, say, I want 5 cold callers, 10 cold callers. So if you're on this call right now, I'm happy for you, but you're late, right? We have to get things going. This is ultimately your blue ocean moment. Okay. This is your opportunity to get in, hit cold calling hard, and get some deals done while other people are waiting 3 weeks for their mailers to hit, etc. You can get in and make that call right now today. Okay. But we need to take action on this. So I actually took a screenshot of Google, so you don't have to trust this from me, right? But this is directly from Google. Okay. So I'll read it for those of you that are on your phone, etc. But despite being on the National Do Not Call Registry since 2004, she repeatedly received a minimum of 6 phone calls and 2 text messages. Okay. Coffey's lawsuit claimed that these communications were telephone solicitations under the TCPA. We'll get to that in a minute, Jay. So these communications were under telephone solicitations under the TCPA. TCPA stands for Telephonic Consumer Protection Act. Okay. The defense countered that their messages were offers to buy property, not solicitations, and therefore shouldn't fall under this definition provided by the TCPA, which defines a solicitation as encouraging the purchase or rental of property, goods, or services. Now, this is where it's important for us, okay? So that's the argument. But the court's decision was this: the district court sided with the defendants, ruling that offers to buy a property don't constitute telephone solicitation under the TCPA. The court dismissed Coffey's case with prejudice in June 2025, which is last month, finding the messages were not solicitations as a matter of law. Okay, boom. This is huge, right? This gives us a blanket of protection. If you don't know anything about our legal system, we operate under a civil law or a common law, right? Common law is a judge's interpretation that's applied to future cases. Don't take my word, look it up for yourself, but do it quick because people are going to catch on to this quick. You're lucky to be in a community where these guys actually invest, because most people aren't sharing this because they're not investing, right? So I wanted to share that with you guys because this is what makes this a blue ocean. It's not going to last forever, right? In fact, I would argue that most opportunities don't last forever. They just pass us by, right? If we were to think back to 2009, I'm sure a lot of us would have liked to buy houses back then and save them until 2020, right? Or maybe you could have bought Bitcoin at 12 cents. I know none of us invest in Bitcoin, right? But you wouldn't be on this call if you did, right? So opportunities come and go, but they just simply pass us by. This is your opportunity, okay? Now let's get into cold calling and talk about why this is important, how you're going to fix your problem if you're not seeing the results you want. So if you're still dialing sellers yourself, if your VA is still figuring it out, or if you're not tracking our ROIs, you're probably going to be wasting time and money, okay? And the problem with this is that it really comes down to momentum, right? You're wasting hours, you have low conversion rates, you're inconsistent results. These are the problems. This is the challenge of survival, is you've worked your butt off to get in this game, but your momentum is going like this, right? And I know you guys feel it. Sometimes you're like, God, when's the next deal coming, right? But we're just not doing these things right. We're burning leads. And more importantly, we're working in the business, not on the business, right? They don't disappear. They just pass us by. That's right, Denny. So these are the things that we don't see. I know some of us are doing 1 or 2 marketing channels, but we want to get into direct mail, right? We want to get into PPL. Well, we're never going to be able to afford that if we don't figure out these ones, these lower ones, these cheaper ones that allow us to get the money we need to jump up to the higher level campaigns. Okay. So this is the challenge. So for those of us that are going to look at building a team for cold callers, the question we need to ask ourselves is how do we do that effectively and in such a way that allows us to scale it, right? Yeah, it's recorded, Rabia. We'll get it to you. Okay. So the reality is you're going to need a system. And I'm going to keep it going because we only have 27 minutes or so. So VAs train for cold calling, not admin help. Okay. So what this means is that I've talked to a lot of people that treat their VAs like a Swiss Army knife, right? One day they do this, you're gonna cold call from 10 to 2, and then you're gonna do admin work. And guess what? Tomorrow's gonna be totally different. Guys, they're human beings. If we think that's gonna make somebody effective, you're absolutely wrong, right? You're just stepping over dollars to pick up penny. If you get somebody good at cold calling, they will produce the revenue needed to hire an admin, right? So we definitely want to be able to do that. We want to have somebody specifically trained for cold calling. We need time-tested scripts, not the scripts from old, right? 2019, 2020, you could have anybody call somebody with a heart, not for you. Anybody call somebody and land a deal. But now sellers are a little bit more sophisticated, guys, right? They're worried that they're going to be taken advantage of. So we absolutely need to be able to provide a good experience, but we need time-tested scripts that work in today's market, right? We need daily KPI dashboards. We need managerial accountability. If we think that we can talk to somebody for an hour and a half once a week and expect them to work their butt off all week with no supervision or accountability, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. People are lazy. People are slow. Nobody moves fast enough. You guys do. But if we expect them to do that on their own will, it's not going to happen. Okay. So we need to create this environment that allows them to thrive. Okay. So let's go over what it looks like when we do this. Okay. So take notes on this section. I'll have a recap at the end so you guys can get a nice screenshot. But the question we need to ask ourselves is how can we set a cold caller up for success? Now, you guys are learning all of this through Tiffany and Josh right now, which is amazing. And all she talks about is we need clear onboarding, right? We need realistic expectations that are backed by data. You can't hire a cold caller and say, I need to get 5 deals per month. You need to understand the data so you can give realistic expectations. But you also can't just have somebody shadow you for an hour and a half and give them a chat GPT prompt and expect them to just execute. It's not going to happen, guys. So I talk to people that are doing, they have cold callers, but they generate one deal, one lead every 2 days. That's a problem, right? And it starts with you, not them. If we don't create an environment for our cold callers to perform, how are they ever going to meet the standards we set for them? Right? And I know I come off a little stern in this, but it's because I want you guys to get this, right? It's not about pointing fingers. Nobody's doing anything wrong. But if we can take this concept and really apply it, we're going to see much better results, right? Your cold caller needs to remember the script, especially now we're moving into a time where sellers are a little bit more sensitive. They're a little bit more interested in what's the angle that you're coming at me from. So if they don't have a script memorized and somebody asks them a question that takes them off script, screwed. They're screwed, right? So they can't be script dependent. We also need to shadow them, right? Think about it like your team. If you have a sales team, would you ever just set an expectation at the beginning of the week and check in at the end of the week? No, right? We want to call shadow. We want to make sure that they're doing the right things. We want to do objection handling and role play. It should be no different with your cold caller, right? If anything, this is your front line. The way they leave that conversation is how they enter your conversation. So if they have doubts and they're concerned, on that cold call, they're going to bring those doubts and concerns onto your call. Okay. So we want to make sure that we're setting our cold caller up for success, clear onboarding, script memorization, call shadowing, etc. Now, the scripts that we use make a big difference. So we work with a lot of companies, obviously, throughout the United States, a lot of people that are actually in Tiffany's community. And one thing that we've learned is that simple and direct scripts are going to work better than your long, drawn-out qualifications, okay? And this just comes from the more time somebody spends with a cold caller from a different country and they get to talk to them and, the more they talk, the more holes they're going to poke in their stuff, right? And then slowly they're going to start feeling like, why am I even on this phone call, right? So we don't want to have, I mean, you could do whatever you want, but the best cold callers, the best companies that do this, they have simple, direct scripts that qualify fast. Okay. So that's what we want to do. We want to qualify fast. Hey, I see you have a property here on 123 Main Street. Are you interested in selling that now in the near future? Yes, great. So if we were to get you an offer today, would there be anything holding you back from making a decision on that? What was the ballpark price you were looking for? If we were to give you a call back this afternoon, would you be ready for that? That's simple. Get them over. Get them over to your sales team, right? I'd much rather have my sales team take that call and really work through it than somebody in another country working at 2 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Cold callers qualify and pass. That's right. Typically, I'd have more time, give you guys time to chat, but I really have a lot and I want to get you guys through this, okay? So managing cold calling day to day. So let's say that we got them onboarded correctly. We have a good script that they're using. They're ready to rock and roll. We're doing call reviews, all these things. This is what it looks like, guys. It's no different than our sales team. When we're managing cold callers at Investor VAs, this is what we do. Daily huddles, feedback. You can't do a feedback loop if you don't do a call audit. Yeah, I'll show you one in a minute, Giovanna. So we can't do a feedback loop unless we do call audit. So we have to be able to identify where are people falling short so we can coach them on that skill set. And when we listen to the call next time they do it well, we want to reward them for that, right? There needs to be some level of motivation and accountability. I know that people are offering cold callers $3 an hour with no incentives. Why would this person ever go above and beyond for you? They're going to try to hit the minimum standard all the time. So we need to find a way to reward them, right? Remember, these are just human beings in another country. The only reason they're working for us at this rate is because the value of the dollar goes further there than it does here, right? But we can't treat them like we're sponsoring a child in another country. No, they're part of your team, right? We need to work with them, right? We need to reward them. They're part of the operation for you, if not one of the most important parts, okay? Now, the next thing that we want to do, guys, is we want to track ROIs. Yeah, so we want to track ROIs, right? So this is what tracking is going to look like. It's a little different than your sales team. Your sales team is going to be more about like process calls, offer calls, things like that. Your cold callers have a little bit of a different KPI. So I would write this down if you guys have it. But what we want to know is how many hours are logged, how many dials did they make? Think of it from left and right, right? So total dials. The next thing is how many dials led to a contact, right? And one should be in there, which is total conversations. Then we'll move to leads generated by caller. And then we have average wrap-up time. This is important, guys, because we don't want them just sitting there, right? Okay, you got a call, you produced a lead, but you sat there for 10 minutes. No, 15 seconds. Awesome, cool. On to the next one. That's how we get this thing to perform well, okay? Average talk time. Now, one thing I'll mention here is, I hope nobody in here has this, but I know a lot of companies don't let you control the dialer. If you guys don't control your dialer and you can't see how many dials people are making, or you can't see the wrap-up time or any of that to set per person for an 8-hour day, we'll come back to that in a minute, Jack. You're not going to know these KPIs, right? You let somebody else control your destiny. They control the dialer, they pull the list and do all that. You have no control over this, right? You have no way of pulling the lever on that. So we need to control our own dialer, guys. So when it comes to this, guys, these are the steps that it takes. So let's do a quick recap of this. This is what I would suggest that you guys take a screenshot of, okay? So this is going to be super important for you to implement. If you want to build a cold calling team that moves beyond just one cold caller, we need to get these things in place. We need clear onboarding. We need call shadowing, right? We need script memorization, objection handling, and role playing. Now, this one down here that says need versus want, right? Right here. Need versus want. So this is a stacked list, right? When I talk to a lot of people, they have, they're pulling like high equity, maybe out-of-state owners, tired landlords, stuff like that. And those are good lists. You might get an opportunity there, but really what you're doing is you're tapping into a want, right? So do you kind of want to sell it, or do you need to sell it, right? When you talk to somebody that just wants to sell it, guess how that conversation goes? Hey, so and so, are you looking to sell your property now or in the near future? Sure, if the price is right, right? They don't have any motivation. There's nothing making them have to sell it, right? So if the price is right, it's great, but they want 110% of Zillow. That's not what we want to do. And unfortunately, a lot of people equip their cold callers with these types of lists, and then they say these leads are crap. They only want market value, right? So if we're not giving a good list to our cold caller, we can't expect for them to produce good leads. Does that make sense? Script, simple and direct scripts, ongoing training, motivation, incentive programs, spam monitoring. Some of you might not even be doing that. Your phone number is spam. But if you don't track KPIs, you're not going to know. Your leads are just going to slowly go down, but you're not seeing we made $500 with 2 contacts. Well, that's because of spam. So we need to track those KPIs to understand that, right? Now, strategic call times, I didn't have a slide on this, but this is super important. Just out of curiosity, like, has anybody in this chat been to Tiffany's 2-day? Has anybody been to the 2-day workshop she does? No? Brad, you have? I've met you, Brad, many times. Of course you have, Sean. October. You're going in October, William, or you've already been? Going. Okay. Listen, guys, go to the workshop, okay? It's gonna change your perspective on the business. But Tiffany talks about this at the workshop. What are the strategic call times, right? So the strategic call time, like if you think calling at 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Monday works, it doesn't. Okay. If you think calling at 6 to 10 p.m. or 8 p.m. in the evening on Friday works, it doesn't, right? There are specific times throughout the day, throughout the week that we've had better results. Okay. So you need to learn what those times are, right? Thursday afternoon, prime time. Wednesday afternoon, prime time, right? But go there, learn how to do that, guys. We need questions that qualify fast. Okay. So this is the type of thing that we want to focus on. If we're going to build a team, we have to treat it like no other person on our team, right? So I wanted you guys to see this, and I know that some of you are going to have to build this yourselves. You got to get spreadsheets, you got to do all this stuff. It's going to take time, and I get it, right? But I do want to give you an example of what it looks like if we do it correctly. So would you guys, I can take a second here, we can sidestep, and I can show you what a dashboard looks like if we build this out correctly. Would you guys like to see that? We've got 10 minutes. So I need yes or no. Paul? Okay. Yes, Jack, Brad. Okay. All right, let's hop in.
You have a couple minutes, Derek. I don't mind.
Is that okay?
Minutes
I know
over.
these guys are serious business, right? So if I go a little bit over, is that okay?
You have a couple. I promised you 60 is all I'd keep you. So if you want to give us an extra 5 or
We
10,
took 20 of them.
this is such
All right.
good stuff. We'll stay on for 5 or 10 more if you have it.
All right, I have
Now
it.
that you guys are busy and you have calls with customers and
Yeah.
clients and your
So the reality is, guys, like, I know that no matter what I show you right here, some of you are thinking there's no way I'm ever going to do that. You just want a done for you service. Okay. I get it. I'm not going to blame you for that. So if you want a done for you service, this is what it's going to look like. So let me just pull it up. If I can do this correctly. I worked all week to figure out how to do this the right way. You guys see this? You see my dashboard here?
love it. Yeah.
All right, cool. So this is what it looks like for hyper service investor VAs. This is what the dashboard looks like when we have somebody that's hired a cold call from us. So this dashboard is going to include you, your cold caller, and what we call a success coach. Okay, so the success coach is going to monitor things like KPIs, changing phone numbers, re-uploading lists, giving you daily updates and things like that. Obviously, your cold caller needs to be a part of that chat channel as well. So you can see this one doesn't really have any activity yet. So I wanted to show you what it would look like before that actually takes place. But as you can see, we have interested leads here, message board, docs, and files. So let's take a look at what it looks like when we've been running this for a little while. So I'll just show you guys my my tracker here. And you were asking earlier about those scripts, I think, Giovanni, so we'll go down to that in a minute. But your day is going to start like this, right? So the first thing that we need to know when we have our cold caller, whether you do this yourself or you have a team, is what is our lead list health, okay? So the first thing that we're going to share with you guys, good morning team. Hey, how's it going, Giselle? Leadless health, 78 out of 96. Rounds dialing, 1 and 2. Now this comes from this tracker right here. Okay, so as you can see, we have 2 different sets of lists. This one was uploaded 8 days ago. This one, 28 days. This is on round 2, okay? Now, this is something you guys have to do if you're doing it on your own, but if you have a success coach, they can do this for you, right? The benefit of this is taking that off your plate so you can focus on things that only the business owner can do, okay? So it starts with that. The next thing we want to look at for the cold caller that we're working with, what are the phone numbers that we have access to? Now, this isn't super important, something you need to spend time on every day, but do you think it gives somebody peace of mind to know that this level of attention to detail is taking place, right? Absolutely. It just removes the thought from your mind as to whether or not my cold callers are working, and it probably shifts your attention to what am I doing with the leads that I've generated? How have I converted the leads that have came over instead of wondering if you're producing them at all? Okay. So we want to have this level of transparency, right? Now, the next thing that we're going to provide, and this is just to make it easy for you, like any company would, is a midday report. Okay, so midday, you can see this happen at 12 p.m. Eastern time. It just tells us they made 442 calls so far. We've had 3 interested leads. And then what was that important number here, right? What's the wrap-up time? Less than 11 seconds? Amazing. Let's go, right? But if this creeps up to 2 minutes, 5 minutes, etc., we have a problem. But if you don't track it, you don't know, right? So somebody might have clocked in for 8 hours, but did they actually work 8 hours? That's the question we need to know. And it's not about like thinking that people are lying to us, right? That's not how you build good culture on your team. We need to set a standard that we trust you, but we also are going to verify. Why wouldn't we verify? I trust you. It's not a matter of me not trusting you. It's a matter of accountability, right? So we need to provide that. We need to do the exact same thing for these guys, okay? After that, you're going to get an end of day wrap up. This will show we generated 6 leads on that day. So wrap up time, Dino, is going to be, so let's say somebody makes a call, they talk to somebody, they generate a lead or not. How long do they sit in the stage where they choose the disposition? Where they say, okay, call, bad number or interested or follow up. How long are they sitting in that window before they make the next call? Does that make sense? So that's the wrap up time. Yeah. Now, the next thing here is you need to have KPIs. If you guys remember what we wrote down earlier in our slides, right? They're right here, right? It's not rocket science. This is actually a KPI that comes directly from your dashboard of your dialer. So most of our clients use ready mode. So this is just the KPI dashboard. You could technically look at this dashboard all day and watch people make phone calls. Is it the best use of your time? Probably not. But do you think it's important to see it at least once, twice, 3 times a week? Yeah, it is. The most successful investors take a look at this, move on, and then get busy doing other things in the business, right? And then, of course, you're going to get an end of the day report. This here is important. So this is a call disposition report. So Dino, this is what we're talking about when we talk about that wrap-up time. Typically, when you're on a dialer of any kind, you're going to have to disposition that call somehow, okay? And what that means is like you need to say, are they interested? Is there a follow-up? Is there a do not call, not interested, wrong number, uncontacted, etc. But I will be the first one to admit to you, I never gave a damn about those things. I wanted to move on to the next one as quick as possible. And I promise you, without accountability, your team is not doing that unless you're tracking. They're one and the same, Elliot. Okay. So if you're not, if your team is not held accountable, they're not doing it. And the problem is that in this sheet, we can see there's 31 people on the do not call, 111 on the wrong number and valid. If we didn't mark that correctly, then those numbers are going to end up back in the list because nothing told them that that's not a valid number. So when they're dialing next time, what do you think is going to happen? The do not call number is going to go up. The wrong number is going to go invalid. And more importantly, we're wasting time throughout the day, right? So we need to track these things, guys. It's not super complicated, but if we don't know to look at that, we're just going to think it doesn't work. That's what happens. So that's what it looks like to have KPI dashboards. Now, this is something that's typically managed by your success coach. So they're going to look into this, they're going to provide these details, but your cold caller is in there as well. So there's a level of transparency amongst everybody. Now, let's say that you generate leads, right? Even after the ruling. I want to get through this, guys. So Denny, if you could help answer those are some simple questions there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
biggest
we got your
question,
back.
Derek, it's okay if we take a minute, is
Yeah.
the case where someone was on the DNC list, we still don't recommend you call them. There's no reason to put yourself in potential risk, there's no reason to do that. So we're always going to side on safety and protection and say scrub against the DNC list, remove those DNC people from your list so you're not calling them.
Yeah.
That's
So
what we can teach you to do. Now you can make a decision as a business owner if you want, but from results driven, scrub against the DNC, don't call them.
absolutely. And more importantly, do your own research, right? None of us here are claiming to be legal attorneys or anything. It's just public information that we have access to. And really what this case means for us is it's an added layer of protection. That's it. It doesn't mean that we're not prudent, that we're not careful about what we do. It just means that's an added layer of protection. That's why we're still not sending out texts, because there is no doubt you called that person or you text that person, right? So it just gives us some confidence that there's an added layer of protection, okay? Now, as far as the leads go, just before you guys get trigger happy, these are mock leads, okay? Because I don't want you guys taking all my stuff. But this is what it looks like, guys. So if you have a web form, I would suggest that we use that. Then it saves your sales team from having to do any admin work. We can just plug that stuff into your CRM. But if they don't have that, then you'll have your leads posted right here, and it'll include the details that you see there. Okay. But this is the type of screen that a salesperson on your team, or if you're the salesperson, this is what you have up on your screen all day, along with your CRM and everything. So if you see a lead come through, you know it's time to make that call. Now, if you let this lead sit there for 4 or 5 hours, there's no way they're going to get back on the phone in the same mindset they were in when they told you they wanted to make the call. Okay, so we want to be able to get to that call within 5 to 10 minutes. As soon as you see a lead come through, we need to call back and either book an appointment or at least acknowledge that there's somebody from the States calling you to talk to you. Okay. All right. Now, these are some other minor details here, but one thing that we check every single day is as soon as the cold caller gets ready to start rocking and rolling in the morning, we need to check internet speeds, because if we don't check this, it's going to throw off all of our KPIs. If they have less than 20 on either of these, it needs to be fixed before they start dialing. Okay, just small detail. Again, it's just transparency. And of course, we talked about scripts, right? So you guys should have these scripts. I'm sure somewhere in your training vault, Tiffany, Sean, I would imagine that you guys have given them access to at least some scripts, but these are just basic scripts, basic qualification scripts, right? I need to ask you a few questions about the property. Would that be all right? So this is 3 pillars, a little bit more qualification going on here versus some of the others, which are just a little bit simpler, okay? But the point of it having it here is so that way we can be on the same page with what scripts are there. The success coach is on the same page. The cold caller is on the same page. There's just absolute transparency over what we're doing on the phone, so that way we don't have any question marks. Okay. So I thought that this would be helpful for you guys to see. I'm going to hop out of this view right now. All right. You guys see my screen again, the regular one? Danny?
We can see it.
Yeah.
All right,
Awesome.
I was muted. Yes, you can see it.
Guys, is this helpful? Do you find this helpful to kind of see what this looks like, to understand the importance of this? Does this make a difference for you guys? Okay. I believe in you guys. I know you can do this, right? It just takes some intention, right? If you can be intentional, cold calling is one of the cheapest marketing channels. That's why we do it, right? You pay $1,500, $1,600 a month, boom, you got 50 to 60 leads coming in. But if you do it wrong, you're going to quickly feel like you're wasting money, okay? And I don't want to see any of you guys go through that. So let's talk data tools and conversions. I know some of you were asking about what lists do we pull, what records do we get, etc. So these are the statistics, guys. What country our investor VA is based out of? United States. We're in Florida. So the main office is out of Florida. All right, so data tools and conversions, minimum 10K records per month. So where this comes from is typically we're dialing about 400 to 500 dials per day. There's usually about 21 to 22 working days in the month. If we go 4 weeks, 5 days a week, if it's a leap year, whatever, you get an extra day. But typically we're going through about 5,000 records every 10 days. So to do that, we need to have 10,000 records. Otherwise, your cold caller is going to run out of activity. You need to have a power or predictive dialer. If you don't have that, I would, I'm sure Tiffany has something for you guys to get that, but it's called ready mode. That's what most people are using right now. But bottom line is if you're doing click to dial, using your cell phone, a rotary number, whatever, you're not going to be able to keep up with the rest of us. Okay, so you need to get yourself a power dialer. By the way, these 10K records, if you guys are looking for good stack data, what I would suggest that you do is you want to look at Sean, you guys have data flick in here, right? You guys
Yeah,
like,
data flick is our number one source
yeah.
of
So if you guys can get access to data flick, they have what's called stack niche data.
let me
So I would suggest you guys reach out to them, and typically it's stack niche data is going to come around like 15 to 18,000 records. If for whatever reason you're seeing less than that, then I would probably use their mapping tool and just make sure you're in a market that can actually support the growth you're trying to do. Because you might, if you can't find 18,000 stacked records, then you're in a smaller market, right? Another one that you can use when we look at foreclosures, probate, things like that would be data syndicates. So if you guys haven't, I know for sure you guys have them. So if you guys have an opportunity to give them a discount or whatever, but data syndicate focuses mainly on courthouse data. So think probate, pre-foreclosure, bankruptcy, divorce, code lien violation, stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah, Derek brings this up because this is where we've seen our co-callers have the most success, is when they're provided with these type of resources to dial through.
Absolutely. And why is it important for me to tell you that? Because if we don't have that, then you're going to cancel your cold caller because you're not going to get results, right? So the only way that we can build a lasting relationship is if you guys get results. But if you're not educated on what data to get, you're never going to get it. Okay.
Yeah. One of the things that Tiff used to bring up when co-calling was huge was that a lot of people used to always blame their co-callers for the reason why they weren't generating leads. But whenever
Yep.
we dive into their operation, we realize that the investors themselves were not setting them up for success. And so that's the reason why Derek is going through a lot of these things. How do you set a co-caller up for success? Because it's just as
I think
important as
the
making sure that you
sucks.
hire the right person as well.
And it's awesome when you do it, guys. You're changing somebody's life in another country, right? If you could do this, like I've had friends that have been cold callers, worked with us, built a house because of what we were able to provide together. So you can really make an impact in another person's life, but they're not the problem. You are, right? We need to create the environment for them to thrive. Okay. Industry standard is about 2 to 4 leads per day if we have all of these things checked, right? If we're doing all of these things correctly, 55 to 65 leads per contract on average, right? Don't attack me if you go 66, right? But one thing I will tell you is that if you expand your exit strategies, that number is going to improve. Okay, so what does that look like? If I can refer to real estate agents, if I can wholesale instead of just wholesaling, if I can rehab, BRRRR, rentals, creative deals, these things are going to drastically impact that number for you. Okay, but if you're sitting there cold calling all day, when do you have time to learn that? I would rather you take 5 to 6 qualified appointments throughout the day, learn how to do these additional exit strategies, and let somebody else do the $10 activity. Going back to what we talked about in the beginning. Okay. So I hope that this is, again, helpful for you guys. And I'll just walk you through just briefly what it looks like if you guys would like to work with us. Any questions on what I've covered so far, Denny, that I didn't miss? Because I know I'm kind of moving quickly here. I just don't want people to start dropping out.
Nope, you got it.
Yeah.
You're doing great, man.
Ideally provide 10K leads. How do we qualify a lead? What are the requirements for a lead to be considered qualified versus unqualified? So that's going to come down to things like ballpark price. Are they ready to sell it? This is another thing you should go to the workshop for. There's a qualification process for that. But if somebody says, hey, I'm looking to sell my property now or in the near future, they have a realistic price frame, they're ready to talk to somebody, get them to a salesperson. Your cold callers shouldn't necessarily be not like disqualifying people, right? Why not just take a talk to them, right? Urgency, motivation.
if somebody has an interest in selling now or in the near future, that's a hand raise.
Yeah, get on the phone,
Cold
right?
caller, ask that question. Are you looking to sell now in the future? And somebody says yes, that's a great start. Luke.
Yeah. And I've had people that said, yeah, I'm looking to sell at the beginning of the year. It's July. If I can lock up a contract for $50,000 that closes January 1st, I'm doing it, right? Why
Yep.
not?
Yep.
So that's the concept, right? We want to get on right away, 90%.
That's the order I posted in the chat that we teach at the workshop. Urgency, motivation, ballpark, condition. Condition's the least important. Ballpark's the next least important. Motivation and
Okay.
urgency are the top two. We can
Perfect.
work with urgency and motivation.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sean.
Ballpark price, Luke. We do 80 or 90% of Zillow just to start out. If they're 80, 90% of Zillow on a ballpark price, we'll have a conversation with them. That's what we do.
Cool. Did I miss any other questions there, Denny?
No, you're nailing it. I threw in the chat and went over it really quick. Typically what we teach and like to do is 10,000 new leads per month per cold caller. That's what we like to provide them with if we can. Because that's the expected dial rate, contact rate, daily rate, working 8-10 hours at the right times. So ideally, we like to feed our cold callers about 10,000 new leads per month per cold caller. That's what we look to do. Now it's going to fluctuate, like Derek said. If you're in a smaller niche county and you only want to focus in a certain area, it's going to be hard to get to 10,000 leads. And so, like, I have areas in mind. I go South Utah County and like Payson, Spanish Fork. I'm not going to have that amount of leads, but they're quality margins if I get them. So I still put them on the list, but it's not going to be a very big list to go do that. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Well, let's think about this real quick, Shani. So you said so we could share the best windows to cold call daily. Do you think the people that we're calling have jobs? Probably, right? So they have jobs. So calling in the middle of the day, 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you're going to have less results than if we can call between 4 and 8, right? But the problem is that most of us want to go home and nobody wants to call at that time. So we don't do it, right?
The best time of day is when people answer the phone. So,
You're so
find
good,
that
bro.
out for your market.
You're the greatest teacher I ever shot. Yeah, he's right. When
Like,
people
when do
answer,
they answer the phone? Like Monday mornings are a waste of time in Salt Lake. And for
waste of
most
time.
cities.
They're
Yeah.
busy. Their week's
Monday mornings,
started.
people are in their emails, they're getting their week going, they're checking their calendars, they have appointments, they have meetings. So Monday mornings are a waste of time.
And Friday afternoons are pretty tough
And
as well.
then Friday afternoon, it's what does Josh call it? Beer 30. It's beer 30 some ways. So Friday afternoon, people are checking out.
Yep.
You know, so just yes, yeah. We
So
have,
the answer,
we have an operation hours that we teach people. But when macro, Derek, when people are answering the phone. So just think, when do people answer
I
the
love
phone
that.
and reverse engineer that? But yeah, we have certain time of days that our teams come in, and it varies Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays. It's all different times. We have weekend support for most of our companies that we have our callers ready on the weekends as well. So it depends on how big your business is, how many leads you have, and who you're calling. Great questions.
It's really
Yeah,
good.
it was really good. And then your question, William, around can we have our callers only calling in those hours is, well, we model after Tiffany's schedule. So we've been working closely with these guys for 7 years now. So we follow that exact same schedule. It's nothing you have to tell us or teach us. If you want us to model that same one, no, no, they won't quit, right? It's just that's the standard that we set. It doesn't mean they don't have any free time. They're not dialing in the morning usually, right? So, so we'll model exactly after what Tiffany and Josh do. Okay. Cool. So let's move forward here, and we'll kind of start landing this plane here. Now I know that. Can you see me, Denny? Looks like I'm getting a little bit of lag here.
No, you're good. What slider you should be on? The data tools. Oh, there we go.
Oh, okay, there we go. Did I get it?
Yep, you're
You
on
guys
the
see
manage
that? All right, so let's just talk about if you guys want to move forward. Now, I'm not sure if you guys fully understand what the cash conversion cycle is yet. I know that Tiffany does teach that, but we've built our programs around what it actually takes for you to get there. Okay. So going back to the idea of momentum, if we put a cold caller on the phone for 15 days and expect them to generate deals for us, and then we pull the plug, we're probably not going to see the results we want. And if anything, we're just going to continually be in this cycle. So we need to commit to at least 3 to 6 months if we're going to give ourselves a realistic chance to generate the momentum and the leads needed. Put it like this: if you got your first lead and you locked up that deal, when do you actually collect the money for that? At closing, right? Which could take a month, 45 days. So we need to commit to a period of time to even let this pipeline build up. So we've built our programs based around that. So if you'd like to commit to 3 months with us, we can manage the cold caller for you. It's $8.50 an hour. If you want to commit to 6 months, it's $7.95. Okay. Now we don't have a minimum duration. So if you guys would like to do month to month, we can do that. It's not recommended. We just charge $10 an hour for month to month. Okay. We ask for a 30-day cancellation notice, which is pretty standard. It just makes it easier for everybody. We ask for 1 month's guarantee worth of hours, meaning if we're going to place somebody onto your team, let's get busy, right? It's not about putting around, right? Let's commit to this at least for a month. Now, typically we have a setup fee, which is $9.97, and this involves us finding that person, giving you people to look at. You can talk to them, listen to their calls, and decide who you want on your team. So typically it's $9.97 for everybody out there. You guys on this call here today with Tiffany and Josh, and just in Tiffany and Josh's community, I do have a discount for you, and I'll share that with you in just 1 second. When you move into a managed plan, you'll receive 1 managed remote professional plus 1 assigned success coach. Your success coach can manage up to 8 callers. So depending on how big you want to grow or how fast you want to scale, we can have multiple remote professionals working under one cold caller. The things that you guys need to prepare is, like we said earlier, you need a dialer, right? A predictive dialer. Some of you don't have that, so you need to get that. CRM web form, if you don't have that already, we can help you build that out possibly. And then a calling list, which we talked about as well. Okay. So the last thing as we start to land and get you guys back to your day here is this, right? So I just want to share with you some of the testimonials of the clients that we work with. Now, we've pulled these people specifically from Tiff's community, and it's just because it's relevant to you. These are people that are rubbing shoulders
Wait a
with you.
minute, I know all these people.
I know you do.
I
So
was reading them and you're like, oh, what you said, TIS community. I'm like, yeah, these are all our students. Right?
yeah, exactly. And the point of that is because you guys need social proof from people that you're working with, right? So the one that I think stands out the most, and I think is a shining star for our company, for Investor VAs, what we're extremely proud about, is the one from Paul Long. He says this. Paul says they're pretty much my business partners. My favorite part about this company is that they come with a long list of holding each other accountable. 5 to 6 different departments handle my account. Aside from just dialing calls, the success coach and the caller stay on top of my inbound calls and texts, responding to my prospects and leads, daily reviews and weekly calls. I love how knowledgeable they are, willing to help me improve my business with suggestions, goals, planning, and already trained on the software and CRM I use for my company. Boom. That's what we want to do. That gives me goosebumps seeing that. Because this is what changes your life and changes their life, right? If you can get this type of support, I promise you, things will get better for you, right? So with that being said, if there's any questions that I didn't get to, I'll get to those now. But when you're in this training with us, we're going to drop off 50% off that enrollment fee for you guys. So like I said, it was $9.97. That comes out to $498.50. Okay. So if you're serious about it, it'll be $498.50, and whatever amount of time you choose. If it's 3 months, 6 months, whatever you can commit to. Obviously, the longer the better, because you'll save money on that hourly rate. But to get that, you need to scan this QR code. Okay. So whether you're thinking about it, I know some of you might not have your partners here on this call with us. So I would scan that QR code and make sure that you have it. And, when you're ready to make the decision, use that one and register, and we'll get you set up. Okay. So, gosh, Sean, I sweat through that. I laughed through that. I almost cried. I got goosebumps. Where are we at, man? Was that good?
Yeah,
Value from that?
you guys appreciate that from Derek. Give me a yes or a boom in the chat if that's something you appreciate. And let Derek know he worked hard at presenting. He's really, really, really good at one-on-ones, and I'm going to throw Derek under the bus. He doesn't love speaking in front of people, and so he did a remarkable job at sharing what he does extremely well, which is educating, helping, and supporting. Any questions you guys have for myself, for Derek, or for Danny on this process on maximizing cold callers, cold caller returns, what it looks like? Derek, can we steal you guys for maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes max?
Let's go for
Matt,
Yeah,
another
of
5 more
course.
minutes.
just to
If you
do
guys
a
have questions.
Q&A. I know you guys have other calls yet to get to. Any
Yeah.
questions you guys have, you can raise your hand and I'll unmute you, or you can throw them in the chat and we'll make sure that we get those questions answered. Denny, I don't know if there was any in the chat that we missed. Jack did ask about countries, primary countries.
Great question, Jack. So on this note here, this is super duper important. I'm glad you asked that. We want to recruit from US time zone as much as possible. So we recruit a lot from South America, Argentina, Guatemala, Nicaragua, these areas down there because they're US time zones, but they also are Spanish speaking, okay, which is super important. If we think somebody calling at 2 a.m. in the morning to talk to somebody at 12 p.m. in the afternoon is not going to impact that conversation, we're wrong. So we want to be US time zone as much as possible.
We recruit in 16 different countries because we recruit for not only cold callers but other positions as well. And so there's different countries where they specialize in different types of
Yeah,
skill sets.
that's true. And in some other countries, there's different cultures, right? Like some are very subservient, some are a little bit more wheel and dealy, right? So we
You're
want to
trying
keep
to
that.
tell us something.
Huh?
I think Sean's trying to tell us something.
Oh, is he muted now?
No, I already talked too much.
No, you're good, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that comes down to with cold callers to have ultimate success. If you're just going to hire a random person, throw them in a seat and never talk to them or train them or watch them or provide them good quality leads, don't call us and tell us cold callers don't work. Because we will ask you all of those questions. How are you managing? What KPIs do you have? How are you training the individual? What data are you giving the individual? That makes a difference. If you're
Absolutely.
going to try to cut corners and say, I hired a friend of a friend of a friend who has somebody in the Philippines and I threw him on the phones and I gave him a cold list of high equity only and I didn't get any deals from it. Well, there's a lot of reasons why that didn't work, my friend. The list sucked, the training sucked, the onboarding sucked. Excuse me, but that's people always call like, well, cold calling doesn't work. Everything works if you work it right.
Yeah.
Everything.
Absolutely.
Now, there's various, I throw it in there earlier that marketers ruin everything, and we do. We are a marketing and sales business. We are not a real estate business. We are a marketing and sales business. That's what we are as real estate investors. That is the vehicle that we use. So we will market and we will use marketing until it doesn't work. And then we will use a different channel until that doesn't work. And then we will use a different channel. If you're not adjusting or keeping a pulse on this, you will, like Derek said, eventually fall behind. Because direct mail has been crushing it. Cold calling is now coming back. We will crush it with cold calling until it doesn't work. And then we will shift, but not until it doesn't work.
Yeah.
We will
This
use
is your
it,
blue
use
ocean
it.
right here.
And there's so much that goes into that that's not complicated to learn. You just have to learn it. How are you managing? How are you tracking? How are you training? And what data are you giving people? What information? Who are you putting in front of them? That matters a lot because there's various motivations. Out of state owner does not mean motivation. High equity does not mean motivation. Could it work? Sure. That's why Tiffany always teaches large lists aren't the best. Large people buy them because they're cheaper. Well, there's a reason they're cheaper. Large, cheap lists, I've gotten deals off them. I have used them, yes. They are not near the quality or the speed of the execution or margin of other AI lists now, stack niche data lists, courthouse county record data. Those are more consistent than out of state owner lists.
So, and one thing I'll say, because I know that there's a lot of us that are in survival in this here, and there might be hesitation, right? You might have fear around doing that. You might feel like, well, I bought that list because it's really what I'm willing to lose, right? I don't want to put myself too far out there. Okay. I've been there. I know exactly how that feels. But I'm going to tell you something. I want you to remember this. And it's the only thing that's going to make you happy or improve your business is for you to step up. It's to raise the standard. It's to discover what you're capable of and push through whatever is holding you back. That's what this game is all about. Push through that barrier and realize you're okay and then get busy making it work. That's how we win at this. So if you feel like you're on the fence, this is the green light for you to take action. Get into it. Go, go, go. Because this time next year, this opportunity is not going to feel or look the same. Okay. So
A little motivation from Coach Derek. Attaboy.
let's go, man. Let's
All right,
go.
let
You
me
guys
drop
got
this
6
in
months
there
to
for you.
crush this.
Let me
So,
drop in this link one last time. Derek and Denny, thank you so much. Any final thoughts?
I'm good. I'm tapped
Okay,
out.
setting up a call with you guys. They scan that. They can jump on the phone with you guys. They can ask questions, pick your brains, get insights first, and then they can decide what's going to work for them. I threw in, like you mentioned, Derek, I dropped the links for the data providers that we personally use and that
Cool.
we love, which is DataFlick is our #1 and Data Syndicate. Data Syndicate is specific to courthouse data. DataFlick is really good with their AI data, their stack niche data. For sure. So take a look at the data because that's going to help your cold calling efforts, the quality of the data for sure.
And we can revisit this stuff on the phone, guys. So set up a call. We'll talk more about it and help you guys get set up.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Derek. Thank
Awesome.
you, Penny.
Our
Appreciate
pleasure.
your
Welcome.
time, energy, and effort for being here to learn more about cold calling and maximizing your cold calling efforts. You're welcome, William. Thank you for joining us in the community. We will see you guys. I will have Tiff shoot out an email to you guys tomorrow with a follow-up with a few of these links with the replay. If she's cool with that, usually we'll like to throw that replay in there, get you into school to watch it as well. Thank you guys for joining us. Be safe, be careful. Reach out to investor VAs, reach out to Derek and Denny, ask them your questions that you have. Allow them to help you and give you some guidance on improving your cold calling efforts. Thank you guys so much. Thanks, Derek. Thanks, Denny.
Time.
Later, guys.
Take care, everyone.